Yeah, KISS. Definitely an acronym that I learned previously by somebody, no names mentioned, but that's one good thing I took from him. KISS, keep it stupid simple. I mean, let's not overcomplicate anything. I mean, I'm talking from the agent standpoint as well as the client or the consumer standpoint as well. Nobody likes complication. Life's complicated enough without making it more complicated. But first and foremost, guys, before I even get anything, I was talking with Jacob earlier. I kind of, when I talk about the basics and stuff, I kind of sound like a broken record. Sometimes I'm like, God, I said the same thing last time, but that's really how you should sound, because there's certain fundamentals when you really go back to square one that should never change. I mean, why reinvent the wheel when it rolls just fine? Nobody's going to come in here and go to the basics and say, "Hey, I found out a better way of." You're not going to do that because it's basic. It's KISS. It's keep it stupid simple. So the first and foremost, I mean, this is going to sound like an after school special, but you got to know that you can do this. Really and truly, I truly believe that everybody that wants to do this job can do it. Not everybody's going to, because there are going to be some people that don't have what the people on this call and the people that are at this company have. They want to. You have to want to. The want to is either you want to do it for you, your family, your finances. You want to do it just because you have to want to do this, because there's no halfway. Halfway in this business is going to show you the way out. Because I mean, and believe me, not every day is going to be a 100%, but you have to want it. You have to have a passion. Okay. If you don't have a passion for what you're doing, have a passion for your family. That's who you're doing it for. Have a passion for your kids, have a passion for your significant other, have a passion for love yourself, have a passion for the people that you're sitting with, because you're changing their lives. Believe in yourself. That's first and foremost. I write consistently because, I'm just a pretty typical why is my family, my loved ones. I have pictures of them all over in my truck, in my office. Where's my other one? They're staring at me all the time. I mean, they're the reason why I do this. Anybody that knows me knows that I love my peoples. I love them, and I'm not going to fail. I'm not going to fail. There's no way, there's no option to fail. So I do this, but I mean, I'm lucky because I do have a passion for this. I have a passion for them, but I also have a passion for helping people. I used to think, and I use this in my presentation, I used to think it was to be a doctor. I really did. I lack two things that a doctor needs, the capacity of the patients, and the willpower to go through all of it, because I'm not a sponge like that. But anyway, that's another story. But I stumbled in this business, and I realized down the road that I'm good at this, and I can be better every day. If we ask Brian Celestine right now, he's trying to be better every day. So this is not something that anybody's going to master just by watching this call, just by going through Dropbox once, just by going through the Prezo once. You master it by repetition, doing it over and over and over, and learning from your mistakes. But that's a whole different call. So I guess the first thing that you need to do that would help me to write on a consistent basis is you need to set goals for yourself. You got to have a mindset preparation of what you want to do and go get. Okay, how to go get it, what it's going to take to go get it, and how long it's going to take to get there. You have to set goals in the sense of, I mean, I started from what role did I want to do here? My role might not be your role. Okay, find your role you want to play. If it's an agent, be the best agent you can. If it's an SM 3, 2, or 1, be the best SM 3, 2, or 1 that you can be. If it's a RVP, be the best RVP you can be. And if it's a partner, junior partner, whatever the case may be, then be the best one you can. Obviously not right off the bat, but find out how to get there. How do you do that? You set goals. Myself, I set yearly goals, monthly goals, daily goals. My day's broken up into an hour at a time. I mean, that's just my life. I mean, it was before this job. I've been in sales for 20 years, and it's every sales job I've ever had. It's goals. I mean, it's a schedule. It's sticking to the schedule, hour at a time. Do I always stick to it? I try, the best that I can. Unexpecteds are going to happen, but just know if the unexpected does happen, I'm going to make up for what I lost. I'm going to make up for it. I mean, that's fine. If you're working 50, 60, 70 hours a week, and you throughout the course of the week, you miss an hour on Monday, well, I'm gonna put that hour on the end of my Monday. If I can't do that, I'm gonna put it on Tuesday, because I have a goal. I have an AP goal or a phone setting goal. Or just like I was talking to Jacob a while ago, I was like, hey man, we're sitting there just talking it up. I was like, hey man, I'm gonna let you go, man. I got to get back on the phones, man. I got 3 more to set. I mean, he knows that I got a number in my head, and if I don't reach it, I failed. I'm not gonna fail. It's not gonna happen. That's the first thing that I do is I assess a schedule and I make sure that I stick to it. How am I going to get there? Okay, I'm going to get there by this schedule. Um, Goals might change. Your role might change. Okay, you might start off as an agent, and then you end up, at the end of that first year, you want to be a partner. Okay, reassess your goal, just reset them, and go get it. So I guess the next thing that I would say is, find the schedule when you're setting it. Find the schedule that works for you, or find a gear that you can stay in. And what I mean by that is, you get souped up. I see a lot of new agents coming here and they're like, oh man, I'm just doing this 24/7 all the time. I'm just pedal to the metal, man. I'm just going to gas it. And hey, and some of y'all can do that. Me, myself, I can't do that. Okay. I'm about to be 42. I got 2 kids or a wife, and I that woman's got a spot in heaven. She lets me do what I need to do to go get it. But I also have to honor her. I also have a life to live. And there's a thing called balance. Balance gives me a recharge to jump back in here when it's time for me to hit my schedule and go 100. Find that gear that I don't have to rev up one day, burn my pistons out, and the next day I'm on I can't get out of first gear. I find, a gear that I can stay in that's consistent on a consistent basis, that I'm hitting 6 days a week and I'm not letting up, and I'm hitting my goals and I'm sticking to my schedule to do that. Now, when you find that gear, there's a couple of things that you have to do. Number one, find a gear that you're going to run through your schedule. Let your loved ones know your schedule. Okay. That's going to eliminate distractions. That's part of finding out how to get to where you want to go, because you're going to have distractions. You're going to have things that pop up. You're going to have friends that call. You're going to have wife or husband or kiddos that call that need you to do this and do that. And you're going to feel obligated to do that, because most of everybody in your mind, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this. God, they know what I'm doing right now, but maybe they don't. Maybe you haven't sat down and said, hey guys, Monday through Friday, okay, I'm going to start work at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. or 10 or whatever you decide to go over with them. And from 10 a.m. till about 7:30 or 8:30 or whatever at night, if you're dying or you got your foot cut off, call me. But if not, just know that I'm working. I'm not saying don't get a hold of me if it's not important, but just know that I'm working. Okay. You ain't got to be a dick about it, but in whatever way you communicate with your family, communicate it like that. Let them know that that's your work time. If you want to work from home one day because you're calling, you're working. Okay. My wife's in the kitchen right now. Actually, she's looking at me through the past door of my office, but she knows I'm in here working. Okay. And I'm home. And if there's an emergency, I can go help. But if other than that, I'm working right now. This is what I do. Okay. So go over that with your loved ones, eliminate those distractions. Now your friends, it's a little bit different. Hey, they can wait, whatever. I don't know. Me and my friends, me and my boys are tight, and I just voicemail and I call them later, whatever, but you have to eliminate your distractions. Your emergency, things are going to pop up, flat tire, people going to hospital, people die. Things of that nature, that's going to happen, but eliminate your distractions. That's going to help with everything that I brought up prior to this point. It's going to help you get to where you need to be. It's going to help you stick to your schedule. It's going to help you reach your goals. So that is very, very important. And that's not mean that nobody should look at you any different for doing that. Okay. They should respect that you do have a job. And, our job is probably going to require us to work a little bit more than somebody working for somebody else. I'd rather work 100 hours for me than 40 hours for somebody else. But that's probably what it's going to take. I mean, I myself, I want to be a partner one day. Well, that's going to take some getting. That's going to take some doing. Okay. So the next thing that I would definitely say is use your sales tools. That is, NASB provides so many things. That's such a wide spectrum. I could spend 30 to 40 minutes on just this alone for you to I mean, they offer everything that you can think of. I mean, we have YouTube videos, Brian Celestine, the partners going through, you know, objections and rebuttals and prezos and things of that nature. You know, Dropbox alone, my God, you could spend hours in there with recordings and product knowledge and things of that nature. You know, I mean, for those of you guys that never ever get on your portals, believe it or not, there's product knowledge in there, and that is like key. You know, I keep it stupid simple, but I like to have some aces in the hole in case I need to get detailed. If somebody asks me to get detailed, I can get very detailed with you. I'm not going to unless you ask me. If I'm going to be a watch salesman, I'm going to sell the watch. I'm not going to sell how it's made. I'm going to sell the watch. Now, if you want to know what gear does what, I can tell you that. However, it builds confidence. It puts a little validity in your step. It gives you, you know, it gives you a little pep, you know, a little common sense with what you're doing. So utilize that. Another thing that NASB has is this little thing. It's called your direct upline. These people are successful. They've done this before. Y'all know we're in a business that plagiarism is praised. You know how many other businesses you can get into and you plagiarize and you go to prison? Like we encourage that here. I mean, that do what successful people do, say what they say, and you'll make what they make. And I don't know about y'all. I'm not going to go over to commas and decimals and things, but I know some of these people above us make it. I'm going to do what they do. I mean, I want to make that. I mean, you know, I know it's not all a money game, but let's be honest. None of us would be on this call or at this company if we didn't make any money doing this. And that's part of the motivation that all of us should have, is making a little cash while we're doing something we love to do. So use your sales tools. I mean, not only your managers, I mean, not only, you know, YouTube, Dropbox, portal product knowledge, you know, use your manager's knowledge, you know, in and ups. You know, when you get in these houses, use your product specialist, you know, use your manager's knowledge to help close the deal. These people are waiting for you to call. Don't feel like you have to do this all by yourself. I mean, there's people waiting on you to call them with you know, and I'll be the first one to tell you that I used to be that person. I used to think I had to do it all by myself. You know, I was like, hey man, you know, I've been in this game over 20 years. I got this. You know, I've been in another agency before. I know this deal. No, to be honest with you, you know, every time I've called Jacob, every time I've called Brian, you know, they've given me a piece of knowledge that I didn't know. You know, I mean, it doesn't even have to be somebody that's been here longer than me. I learned something the other day from Kanani Youngblood, an angle that she took, you know, that that I'm going to use. And it was something about the kiddos, you know, it was an objection. Oh, you know, my kids, you know, they got me. It's all good. Okay, well, great. Well, what's their number? Because they're the one that's going to have to deal with this. I've never used that before. Well, I was like, wow, that was awesome. Kanina, I was like, wow, I'm actually going to use that. You know, I mean, there's so many things that you can learn from people. You know, don't feel like you're above anybody else. I don't, you know, I mean, learn. We're all here to try to eat. Okay. We're all here and we can bounce and learn off of each other and to be better. That's the name of the game. Let's all be better, you know, at what we do. And another thing, Road Warrior, Circuit, Numbers, Tally, you know, Jacob comes at us all the time with these tools that we can use that makes our life easier, you know, and I'm an old head. You know, I'm a write everything down on a piece of paper and just at the end of the day, get a calculator. Tell why. We got Tally. We got Road Warrior that maps out all of our, you know, from farthest to closest to farthest to whatever we want to do in multiple routes. Use them. They are there to help you. What's the name of the game here? Be as efficient as possible in as least time as possible. That's the name of the game. Okay. I mean, love the one you're with, but prepare for the one you're about to go to. And last but not least, guys, and I really want to hit hard on this because this right here is like an untapped market. It seems like, I'm not saying totally, but it is a lot less at this company than at my previous company because they just hammered it down. And I'm glad they did, because that's one thing I did take. If you are in a house, especially writing a policy for somebody, if you're writing a policy, you're done, you're signed up, all high-fiving, all right, how do you feel like we've done today? Okay, great, it's so great. And you are not getting referrals, you are doing yourself an injustice. That is, you know how much that cost? Zero. You got some people at this company spending $2,000 and $3,000 a week on leads. Referrals cost zero. I will capitalize on referrals. I love referrals. I'm straight up, I love them so much that I'll look them dead in the eye and I'll tell them, hey, I brought my bag out in the car. I'm willing to spend the night in your guest bedroom until you give me 3 people that you love. I'm not leaving until you do. I mean, I make it sound funny, but then I'm like, I'm serious. I need 3 people. I mean, if you're in the house and you're not collecting referrals, I mean, you need to just go up to your direct upline at the end of the day, open your wallet up and just hand them a couple of $100 because that's what you're doing. You're leaving it on the table. Guys, there's so many opportunities here to make money, whether it's, setting your goals, setting your schedule, sticking to it, eliminating your distractions, things like sticking to your schedule. Like I said, manage your knowledge, YouTube, Dropbox, everything that I've talked to will help you make money. It will help you be more efficient, collect referrals. There's so many things here. You can't just be a small-minded, one-minded person and expect big things to happen. You got a small mind, you got small AP. Not only you're not going to make very much money, you're not going to save very many families. I don't know about y'all. I love making money, but you know what I love a little bit more than that? I love saving families too. As I said in the beginning of the call, I'm really put here on this earth to help people. I talk about making money a lot because I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love my lifestyle. Like Jacob was showing you, just is pretty open, just advance money up front. And I know Justin can agree with me. I made 20 racks last month. That's nice. I like that. I mean, I enjoy that. But in the process of that, that is a small drop in the bucket compared to the families that I provided for their loved ones. I provided an opportunity, and that is just a small drop in the bucket. Not, don't feel guilty because you make money doing that, but not to get off the subject, but be more efficient with these, these key points here. You're going to reach walls that you're going to run into. Push past them. Do you know what I'll leave you with this. Whenever I hit a wall, I've been in this game long enough to know that when I hit a wall and that old voice comes in my head and it's like, oh man, God, I'm tired of this. God dang it, man. It seems like when I get rolling, I trip up. I've been in this game long enough because there's 2 things you can do right there. Number one, you can keep pumping them legs because I promise you something great is on the other side of that wall. Or you can leave. And like I said, I can't fail. I can't fail my loved ones. I'm 42 years old. I've done just about every form of sales, just about every job that you can think of, from fitting pipe to selling cars to selling gold and silver. I've done it all. There's nothing like what we do. Nothing. I'm very blessed to do what I do, and I love this. And there's nothing that's going to beat me. Nothing. Not going to happen. I got too big a family now. All you guys are my family. I got too many opportunities, too many arms reaching out saying, help. It's just like I'm climbing that wall and somebody's reaching over and hey, come on, man, grab that hand. Let's go. I know Jacob's there. Hell, I know Justin will be there. I know if I called Brian, he'll be there. So guys, utilize, me too. I mean, I'll be here for any one of you. I think if you guys stick to these key points here, it's really, really, really going to help you guys. And I know that Justin, I know he's got something coming too. I do appreciate it. Thank you, Jacob, for letting me speak.
Mark, dude, amazing. I appreciate you so much for taking the time out of the day today. And if you could stick around, I want to go to Justin real
Sure.
quick, but then I want to come back and kind of open it up with the Q&A. I got a few questions myself, but Justin, let me go ahead and unmute yours. All right, boom. Okay, so your story's a little different, bro. I want, and I'm gonna let you talk about it, but I'm gonna kind of I'm gonna mute myself and then just let you take it, bro. But tell us how somebody can do what you did last month and how they can do it consistently and what helped you do it.
Okay. You got me? Can you hear me? All right, cool. So, Mark, hey, great job, dude. I loved it. I loved it. I have questions for you as well. And that's one of the things that I want to hit on is knowing your flaws, knowing what you're good at, knowing what you're bad at. Everything from referrals. I don't get referrals. So that's, one of the huge questions I have for you, and Carlos, and just putting everything that y'all know about referrals together and kind of learning and putting my own spin on things. But that's one of my flaws is I don't get referrals. Another one of my flaws is waking up in the morning. So you have to know you have to know your flaws, and you have to know what to do about it. Waking up in the morning is huge. you gotta go to work. Getting referrals is huge. I mean, Mark does a great job at it. Carlos does a great job at it. But another thing is, and it's kind of piggybacking off of what Blair and Alex Cromie's conversation was talking about, how when you first start, your confidence is at an all-time low when you first start, and you're willing to learn is at an all-time high, or at least it should be, right? And so as you progress and as you go to work and as you get those prezos in and you're learning all this stuff, that confidence starts to raise, right? And eventually it's going to get to a point to where it's on an even playing field, right? Your confidence is right up there with you willing to learn. Now, this is one of my flaws again, right? It's my confidence is so high, my willing to learn is at the floor, right? So I don't have a problem reading books. I actually love reading books. But as far as studying the business, referrals, right? Learning how to do referrals, I've been putting it off for so long because I'm comfortable with where I'm at, with the knowledge that I know. I'm comfortable with making $15,000 a month. I mean, you get to that point and it's kind of like, what do I need referrals for, right? But, that's, like I said, you have to know your flaws and you have to know what to do about it. Waking up in the morning is one of my flaws. So one thing that I do now is when I wake up, I jump straight in the shower because it wakes me up. And so getting referrals, right? Like I said, Mark, I have, a lot of questions for you at that. Maybe we could do a training a different day, solely based on referrals. And then keep learning, right? Keeping that, I don't want to say, because that's where you want your confidence at an all-time high. You want your confidence super high. Now, I'm not saying bring your confidence lower, so you can be on the same playing field as you're willing to learn. No, keep your confidence high and raise that bar as far as, keep that hunger. But that's one thing I wanted to just touch on. Another thing is accountability partner, right? You need somebody to chase. You need somebody that pushes you. And for me, that's Jake. He, every week, every month, it's, and excuse my language, but it's outright me, out invest me, buy more leads than me, write more than me, right? And one thing that I admire about him and that I love about him and that really pushes me and forces me to do what I need to do is one thing that he says is there's never going to be a time to where I tell you to do something and I'm not going to do it. There's never going to be a time to where, I tell you to go do this, 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 and this, and I'm not willing to do it myself. So that's one thing that I love about his leadership is, you know, he's not scared to do what people aren't willing to do, right? And so, and that's why he gets the results that he gets. And so that's what I mean by find somebody to push you like that. I mean, whether it's Jake or whether it's Mark or me or somebody else, but like kind of like Mark said, reach out to your upline, reach out to those people that are making the money you want to make, doing the things you want to do, right? And so have that person to chase, right? That leader to chase. Upline. One thing I do want to touch on is because this happened to me last year, right? I made a shitload of money last March and I spent it all, right? So one thing that, you know, everybody says is be a slave to your schedule, right? Which is true. Another thing is be a slave to your financial goals. That's huge because, I mean, you can shoot yourself in the foot if, you know, you make $15,000 and then you go out and you spend $14,000 and you can't buy leads next month, right? So it's the way we do it is the same thing. It's in the Numbers app, right? So we track our numbers in the Numbers app, and that's one thing I'm going to touch on as well. But as far as tracking, you know, how much do I put in my savings? How much do I put in my checkings? How much do I have to, you know, play with, right? That is tracked in the Numbers app as well, right? As well as your numbers, right? And so tracking your numbers, for me, it's huge because I know what I did wrong last week. I know what days I took off last week. I know when I left the field early and I got into the field late, right? So for me, when I first started, it was an AP goal, right? When I first started, I write 10 grand. By Friday, I'm good, right? I'm not going to work. Now it's an app goal, right? I write 10 apps by Friday, I'm good, right? So I could be at, you know, $18,000 on Thursday with 8 apps, right? I have to go out and write 2 more apps, right? So for me, it kind of changed, like kind of like Mark said, you know, your goals change as you progress and as you learn different stuff and kind of put your own spin on things and what's comfortable for you, right? Another thing that he said earlier is burning yourself out, right? You have to kind of, you know, like I said, be a slave to your schedule, but you also have to know your schedule, right? There's people out there that they go for 2, 3, 4 blitz days, 12-hour days, because they're booking their schedule around, you know, their family and their things that they have to do. So you have to know what's comfortable for you. You have to know what fits your lifestyle. So what schedule is good for you. For me, it's 5 9-hour days. 8 to 9 hours, 5 days a week is what I'm comfortable with, is what I like doing. And like I said, if I have to go to work Saturday, I will. But I mean, there was I specifically remember there was 2 days back to back last month where they were both 11-hour days. I left when it was dark and I got home when it was dark. I had no time to do anything. And that third day, I didn't even go to work because I was so burnt out. And so knowing your schedule, sticking to your schedule, like I said, finding out what's comfortable for you, what works around your, you know, your family and stuff. But that's huge, is avoiding being burned out, right? So like I said, you know, just know your plan as far as your schedule, and then take it to kind of piggyback off of what I just said, just take it one day at a time, right? Nothing is gonna, nobody's perfect, and not every day is gonna be perfect, right? Not every day is gonna be bad, right? I mean, to be honest with you guys, I don't know about Mark, but I don't feel like I did anything special last month. I just went to work. Like it was, and that's why, you know, I love how he started it off. Keep it simple, right? And that's one of the things that I did going into the month of March, is just, let's break this thing down as simple as possible, right? Because I mean, once you start building a team, that's what you're going to have to do anyways to make it duplicatable, make it as simple as possible. And so that's what I did, is went back to the basics. I mean, I guess if you want to put a name on it, buying leads, printing out your leads, cutting out your leads, mapping out your leads, and going to work. And that's it. Knowing, if you don't know your presentation yet, the only way you're going to learn it is in the field. You got to go to work regardless. So that's, a few tips as far as what I did last month. How I guess I keep myself motivated, how I keep that gas in the tank, day in, day out, is avoiding burnouts, knowing what your flaws are and doing something about it. And then having that person to chase, having that person to look up to push you, right? I think that's huge. That's huge for me, and I would probably say our whole team is the type of leader that Jake has developed into over the years is what is why everything is running the way it is, right? And if you ask him what he's doing, he's going to tell you, but you have to do it. You can't just, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm reading these books. I'm traveling for work and I'm doing this, and this. And it's going to seem like, wow, why? And then you look at his bank account and it's kind of like, okay, I can see why you're making all this money. So that's like I said earlier, that's one thing that I love about him, is that he's never going to tell you, something that he's not willing to do. But those are just, a couple tips, guys. Tracking your numbers so you know what to improve on. Taking this thing one day at a time. Taking everything with a grain of salt. Don't stress about, no's, and don't, because everything, I forget, how does it go? This too shall pass, right? A no, 6, 7, 8 no's in a row is going to pass, right? You're going to hit that yes. And then when you hit that pop for $350 a month, that's going to pass too. You got to go find some more business, right? That's not going to last forever. So just taking it one day at a time, finding somebody to look up to. Don't burn yourself out, knowing your schedule, being a slave to your schedule and being a slave to your financial goals, putting money away, not touching it, knowing your flaws and doing something about it, reaching out to your upline, having an accountability partner, and figuring it out. But those are just a few tips. I know it wasn't much, but I would probably say, to kind of add on, is just avoid trying to reinvent the wheel, doing what everybody else is doing. Everybody else is on the phone calls, be on the phone calls. Everybody else is on the 30 for 30s and all these Zoom calls, be on the 30 for 30s, be on the Zoom calls. Everybody else is going to work, go to work. Everybody else is tracking their numbers, track your numbers. Just figuring out what people are doing, figure out what people are doing and do it yourself. Right. So that's why I said, I don't feel like I did anything special, because this is what everybody else is doing. Right. So I'm not changing anything. But that's all I got, guys. Jake, I appreciate it, man. But
bro, good job, Justin. I appreciate you. You did, and bro, phenomenal job. You skipped over something that I feel like will help out a lot of, especially new agents or agents who find themselves in a predicament where, I can't buy leads this week, or I can't buy leads this month. You did something last month to avoid that. Can you talk about that real quick?
I got a loan. I got a $2,000 loan.
I was talking about the card, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, I did both. So that was my goal going into March. Is I wanted to have and I learned this from Nick. He did a Zoom call about this probably a month or 2 months ago. And he said that you need a bank account with your lead money in it for 4 weeks. You need 4 weeks of leads put up in this bank account. And so I went into March having that goal to have that set up by the end of March. So I got a $2,000 loan. I bought 58 Platinum Memorials in San Antonio. And I mean, I turned that into, way more than 2,000. And so by the end of March, I was able to get a secured credit card from my bank, put $4,000 in it. And now I'm set up for, this month. I'm set up for next month. So I have my lead money put away. And that's, kind of what I was touching on earlier is be a slave to your financial goals, right? And so all those deposits that I had coming in March, I would put a certain amount away, and I calculated it perfect to where at the end of March, I would have $4,000 put up solely for the secured credit card. But yeah, so going into March, got a $2,000 loan with that goal in mind, to have that secured credit card for my leads. So now I don't have to worry about coming out of pocket every single week or trying to find money every single week to buy leads. And so it's having that secured credit card and having it filled up, right? So when I get halfway done with it, halfway through April, fill it back up, and so I'm ready for May, right? But that's one thing that I did going into March is getting that $2,000 loan, and kind of I was just like, all right, this is going to be a full send. But yeah.
Well, we appreciate you, brother. He paid back that loan full by the end of March and got his secured credit card. I don't know if he said that part or not, but guys, I want to open this up for question and answers. I know I have questions, but if anybody has questions, now would be the time to unmute yourself. Let me stop this.